Extra light. I should do that. All right, here we are. We're back with a new episode. I got to turn on a light here. Extra light. That's better. All right. All right. We are back with the Teachers Talking Hoops podcast. It's been a
Refinance.
little, yeah. It's been a little delay with as teachers that became prioritized. Adam had work to do. I had some teaching stuff to do. Um,
And athletes.
Yep, yep. But now we're back in the game.
That's right.
We got a lot to talk about with the beginning of the college basketball season.
That's right. That's right. It was. I guess we can start with your Duke moment. How they.
Well, let me give you
Okay.
let me give you a cold open question.
Okay.
Who's been the most impressive team or most impressive player you've seen so far?
Um, most impressive player. I'm gonna say my player of the week is Hunter Dickinson. He listen. Don't give me that sigh because he completely destroyed Kentucky on Tuesday.
And
And
they
I know
needed him.
there were some doubts that maybe he wouldn't. But 21-8 in 24 minutes, 18-8 in 20 minutes, and then 27 in 21. Hunter Dickinson's my player of the week. He has been the most impressive player so far for me. And I don't know. I was really impressed by Vermont. I was watching them yesterday. Vermont really impressed
Oh
me.
yeah,
They're a together team. BYU has been another one that's really impressed me. They've come out with a couple of wins. There's a lot of teams that didn't impress me, but we'll get to that.
okay. Did you see Duke versus Bucknell?
No, I did not.
Because
What?
my most impressive player of the season is Ryan Young.
Oh, I
After
thought you were going
his
to say Mark
big,
Mitchell.
no, Ryan Young had a big dunk in that Bucknell game. Big breakaway. He stole it, went the length of the floor, and threw it down.
I can't believe that he dribbled. I
Yeah,
wonder how that looked.
yeah. So that he is my most impressive player
No, that's pretty
of
good.
of the season. Mark Mitchell did
Okay.
play really well in that game, though.
Yeah. Well, now
He
they
was
got
he
what,
was a
Lasar?
guy. Yeah, well, he was a bad matchup, I think, for Bucknell because they
Mm,
they had some shooters,
yeah.
but Mitchell's just so long
Yeah.
that like it's hard. He's a 6'9" kind of point guardish type
Mm.
player.
Didn't he have 20 at halftime? Something like that. I thought I
A
saw that
little bit
online.
after he ended up at
Yeah.
20. I think it was early in the second half because
Okay.
they pulled a lot of starters. They
Yeah.
got TJ Power some run. Um, I hate all right. So let me go on a rant real quick, and then do we want to talk like just 5 minutes about Duke, and we'll get
Yeah.
on. So this is about Duke as well, but make it a quick rant. I hate Duke fans. Like probably like most other fans, but when I'm online and you see like Patriot fans or Red Sox fans, they're so annoying in terms of kind of how they view their team.
Uh-huh.
And Duke fans are the same. Like I go on Twitter and I follow all these Duke Twitters, and you think that this would be this supportive, all right, like here goes our
Yeah.
team. And after every game, like after I think it was the first game. Yeah, what's the first game? Arizona. They're like Ryan Young is trash. Like why should this guy ever play? Like this is stupid. Meanwhile, like all you have to do is look at last season, how he basically almost saved us
Yeah.
last season.
Literally
And then he
right.
comes back at the Michigan State game and has
Mm.
this tremendous game. And they're like, oh yeah, Ryan Young. And
Yeah.
then Jared McCain's been starting, and Kale Foster comes to that Michigan State game and saves the day. And they're like, this, Jared McCain can't hit a shot. Like that's what he's supposed to be in there for. Put Kale Foster in the starting lineup. Then you go in the Bucknell game, and Kale Foster can't hit anything, and Jared McCain went for like 16 and 10.
No, they expect a lot. I don't know what you got to rally your Duke fans here
It's ridiculous.
because
It's like
but that's why that's I feel like John Shire could care less.
he got
So
T in that
in
Bucknell
the
game.
oh really? Wow. And that's got to be his
They
first ever technical.
Yeah, I think he saw that Ryan on the wall. It was early, and actually almost it didn't hurt them, but they were up maybe like 19-9,
Yeah.
and Mark Mitchell got hit
Mm,
on a when he went up, and they didn't call it,
mm,
and so Shira went in on him, and I think they ended up like they hit the two free throws, they hit, then they got the possession, they made a bucket, and I think Duke missed, and they got another bucket, and it went to like 19-16.
mm.
And so like
Wow.
Bucknell responded hard, but then Duke responded kind of back to that.
And Cruz to let's see some more competition here. They're 1-1 in true competitive games.
You don't consider the but those two competitive games could
Uh-huh.
be two of the more competitive games that anyone's played all year.
Yeah, that's
That
fair.
Arizona game. All right, so a real quick thing on Duke. I thought Duke, that Dartmouth game was so long ago now. I thought that was just kind of a feeling out
Yeah.
process at the beginning of the
Yeah,
season,
sure. Yeah.
and then they go into Arizona, and I didn't really like how
Fall
they played
apart.
against Arizona.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I didn't think that they met, and I think Shire said the same thing. I don't think they met the physicality of
Yeah.
Arizona, and
Yeah.
to him, it was he preached it back to them from what at least what I heard that it was so
Hmm.
reminiscent of the Tennessee game.
Hmm.
And that was, they've been talking about this for the whole year. You got to get stronger. You got to play
Hmm.
tougher. You bring back all these guys, and you
Yeah.
go against a team that is probably a little bit stronger than
Hmm.
Duke is from like a physicality standpoint, but not really all that much more experience. Maybe a little bit, but
Hmm.
not that much more experience. Not really any more talented. And they just seem like they want it more. They're kind of bullying Duke, and Duke struggled a little bit with um, the big guy from Arizona,
Which
and
one? Larson or
both
the,
actually, yeah,
the
both,
really big one?
yeah, both. Because the one that doesn't play as much, he ended up having a
Oh,
good game,
Valo.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then their might have been like their point guard,
Hmm.
um, but they had
You're not
another
talking
big.
about you're not talking about Love, right?
No, no, no. No, I wasn't talking about Caleb. I own this place. Love after like 7 points and like three turnovers or whatever.
Did you see that he put Tar Heel for life on his shoes? I thought that was interesting.
I, like that's I would disown the Tar Heels. They disowned him.
I know, right? That I thought that was interesting. I I think that Duke was out toughed. I think that Arizona wanted it a little more.
But
Listen, but you got to give big props to Arizona because we can agree that Cameron Indoor Stadium is probably the hardest place to win a game in college
so I guess
basketball.
here's the question though, right? Did you think Arizona played well?
I think they played well at moments they needed to play well. They might have
Because
not have played well the whole game, but they came up
yeah,
and
I
played
agree.
well in moments when they needed to.
I agree. They were faster to the 50
Yeah.
50 balls and all that.
Hmm.
Because I didn't feel like Duke played well. And then
Hmm.
for them to really, they lost by three. I think
Yeah.
Arizona dunked it at the buzzer to get to
Yeah.
five. So they
Yeah.
lost by three.
Hmm.
And I mean, that's not if Arizona continues to be as dominant as they kind of seem like they are right
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
that's not a bad loss. I
Hmm.
was a bit more worried and not worried with the Michigan State thing because Michigan State kind of hung in there. And
Yeah.
Duke sort of ended up putting them at arm's length for a while. Right around 8 or 9 points, and
Hmm.
um, but Michigan State obviously was struggling before that
Yeah.
Duke game.
Sure.
My theory was that, like, I don't think Michigan State will struggle in the long run. I think they'll bounce back and have a good season.
Hmm.
And obviously they were going to be hyped for the Duke game, so they
Hmm.
were definitely going to play much better in that game than they
Yeah.
had all season.
Hmm.
So I don't if Michigan State ended up losing to um Butler, then
Then
it's like,
then it would
oh,
be a
like,
different story. Yeah.
yeah. But the
Yeah.
fact that it seems like maybe that Duke game kind of lit them up a little bit, and they're going to start getting on the roll now.
Yeah. I think. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't totally surprised that Michigan State hung in that game, but I think that Michigan State honestly played more physical
Yeah,
still.
that was a physical game.
Yeah, that was a very physical game, and I wonder. It kind of answered some questions about me of how Duke can answer when matched with bigger physicality, because that's been everybody's question. And
Yeah,
Durham is how is this team going to fare against a physical, you know, tougher, stronger team? And I think that they showed they can win. I think they had a little better of a matchup
yeah.
versus Michigan State than Arizona. So I also think that's part of it. But listen, it's a win versus Michigan State.
Yeah,
And it's
and
like,
and Michigan State they got in
yeah,
foul trouble a little bit.
yeah,
Duke got a little bit of foul trouble. Michigan State got it
mm-hmm,
more. Duke got to the free throw line a ton because Michigan
yeah,
State just kept chucking threes,
mm-hmm,
and they were hitting more threes than they had all
yeah,
season. but they
Right.
were certainly, I got nervous because I was listening to a podcast beforehand, and they're
Mhm.
talking about like they returned 3 guys,
Yeah.
experienced guys who
Yeah.
shot like 40% from the 3-point line
Yeah.
last year,
Yeah.
and then it doesn't make sense how they can come back and be so bad.
Mm. Yeah. That James Madison game definitely I don't think anyone was expecting, and then I kind of think that set the tone early was like how good is this Michigan's because honestly
Hmm.
they should be 3-1 right now.
Yeah,
Like that looks a lot better than 2-2, and obviously they're going to drop.
yeah,
Um, I don't think they are any worry, but they've got a great opportunity against Arizona this week to
yeah.
kind of put themselves right back on the map.
And I'm kind of hoping they win that. I think that's
Yeah,
a win-win for Duke. Like,
yeah, you
it,
want that win for
yeah, um,
because you got LaSalle this week, so
yeah. I don't know much of like we're talking
I'm
about like
hoping.
that, but we're talking about the A10 LaSalle, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm hoping
But
Frank
are they
Dunphy
trash?
beats you. They're not the strongest. Yeah,
I mean, they
you guys,
lost to. Did they beat Bucknell? I think.
you guys will beat LaSalle. We'll just say that you guys will win. It's a Fran Dunphy coach team, but you guys will win.
All right, so LaSalle beat Bucknell, but they just beat Southern Indiana by 1 point today.
Yeah,
So
not the strongest. You
um,
guys will have no problem with that. So,
they did have a guy. See, this is what makes me nervous about when you go against a team that's not very good. They had a guy in this Southern Indiana game drop 30 points,
oh really?
and so like I always get a little worried about when you have a guy like that
Yeah,
potentially he's not going to win the game against Duke,
yeah,
but
but
could
maybe
have
close
like
enough.
a big
Yeah,
game. Yeah.
yeah, sure, sure. Yeah,
Um, all right. So uh, quick recap. Like I think Duke's in an okay spot. I like how I think the guards are starting to get realizing they have to rebound.
mm,
I think Tyrese Proctor um, and Jared McCain are doing a much better job of rebounding. Jared especially.
mm,
Um, Sean Stewart got a little more play in this last game, and he's a great athlete.
yep.
And um, who's I mention? Flip is playing well, obviously
Flip
still.
basketball. Yep.
Yeah. So I think I think the team we haven't seen anything to think that the team we thought they could be, they're not going to be.
Yeah,
They're not that team yet.
sure.
Um, and I still think I wonder sometimes, and this will be my last Duke thing. I wonder sometimes if he doesn't have a fantastic season, how high in the draft Tyrese Proctor will go. Just
Yeah,
because when like there's moments where you're like, this guy's clearly an NBA point guard.
yeah,
Like there were some moments that Bucknell game where it's like, wow, this guy,
yeah. This guy can go top
he's
10 in the
good.
lottery. Yeah,
Yeah. And there's other
I
moments.
think
He's not bad, but like, yeah, there's some moments where it's like, I mean, he'll make some fancy passes where it's like, this is highlight stuff right here.
yeah. It's a process. He'll
Yeah.
as let you go through the season, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. So you wanna do some recaps, or you want to get into your awards?
Um, I feel like the awards kind of file into the recaps.
Okay.
Um, I guess I'll start. Actually, I'm
When
not
you
sure.
you give your award, and I'll follow up with my
Yeah,
my
yeah, sure.
research
Yeah,
pick that I
yeah.
have.
Your research, yeah, okay, sure. Um, so I guess we'll start with my risers, or should we start with my teams of the week first?
Sure.
Okay, we'll start with my teams of the week. So my 5 teams of the week are James Madison, Arizona, Penn, BYU, and Auburn. Those are my 5 teams of the first 2 weeks. James Madison with that win versus Michigan State, 24. They're going to keep moving up. Arizona, that signature win against Duke at Cameron. Penn beating Villanova. BYU, who would have thought they'd be first in the Big 12. And then Auburn looked really good Thursday and Friday, demolishing both Notre Dame and St. Bonaventure. Took care of business as they should.
And it may seem like I've yet to watch or follow anything, but I do know that Penn game, the
Yeah.
Villanova Penn game, that was definitely a big win for them.
Yep.
And but the question was, how good is Villanova, right?
That's
But
true.
then I do know some stuff, but I don't. My
Damn.
memory is absolutely terrible. So I will tell you in 1 second that where's it at? Oh, was it just Maryland? I thought it was a different team than Maryland. But Villanova, I knew Villanova responded with a win
Yeah,
after
they
that
beat
Penn game.
Maryland. Yeah.
Yeah, and I knew it was a pretty easy win. So 57-40. Maryland obviously isn't the
Mhm.
Maryland of old,
Yep.
but it's still Maryland. It's still
Hmm.
a well known Division One team,
Yeah.
and I think that's big for Penn, right?
Yeah.
Because
Oh yeah.
Villanova isn't just trash.
Yeah.
They're a team that they met, and I would say, right, if you're talking about the the risers, I
Hmm.
thought the Ivies have
Yeah.
had a great couple
Yeah.
weeks.
Absolutely. Yeah. Especially
You know,
Penn
yeah,
and
I can't remember all
Harvard.
the games, but Harvard or UMass, but there was a couple. There was one other game, and I can't remember what team it was,
Uh-huh.
that had a good win. Like I've been seeing, beyond like Dartmouth and some of kind of the. I mean,
Hmm.
Dartmouth got that big winner, Westfield State.
Yeah. But no,
But
no, they only won by 14.
yeah, it wasn't by a lot. Yeah, it was. I
I,
that's it's not bad for Westfield State.
I know. I saw that, and I'm more concerned about Dartmouth. You're Westfield State. That's a win.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because I mean, Westfield State's probably not even favored to win like the MASCAC.
No, I don't think so.
Um, all right, so those are good. So
Those are my teams of the week.
I agree for the most part. I
Okay.
think Penn
The
for
most
sure.
part, you're just Arizona biased
Well,
because
no,
they
I was gonna
lost.
say Arizona.
Okay.
I thought Arizona had a good week. I think Arizona's
Okay.
looking good.
Okay.
Um,
JMU.
yep, yep. I would say, um, out of other teams, I mean USC right had that loss, but I don't think you
Mhm.
can really blame them or anything. I got one team I'll mention, but I'd say Kansas. I wouldn't put Kansas on my list of good. Like I I think everyone was pleasantly surprised with the fight Kentucky put up.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I remember I texted you, I was like, Kentucky's gonna get blown out.
Yep.
Like I just thought that Kansas was gonna run them out of the building. And then Reed Shepard came in and started lighting it up.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh boy. And I'm surprised. That was Kentucky's game to lose, basically. I mean, they should have won that game. And then Hunter Dickinson was big late. And
Yes.
that was incredible.
Yeah. So like Hunter Dickinson, is on the rise
Yeah.
as a
Oh
from
yeah.
a player standpoint.
Uh-huh.
That um I wouldn't say Kansas is. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see how good Kentucky is.
Yeah, I think so. I Kentucky was on my well sneak peek. They're on my risers list, even though they lost because of that performance.
What do you think about I would say probably maybe not the most impressive team of the week,
Mhm.
but the team that looks like they potentially could win a national title, Miami.
I don't know.
You don't think because what's his name there? Poplar is
Yeah.
shooting like
Oh yeah.
70% from three.
Yep. He's playing like a lottery pick right now.
Yeah, and Nigel Pack, is probably not doing as well because of Poplar.
Hmm.
Um, and then you have O'Meara, and I think Matthew Cleveland when they played Georgia the other day. Matthew Cleveland dropped 18, 8 of 13.
Yeah.
It's a team where maybe I'm just looking at the Georgia game. They
Yeah.
only played they played 9 guys. 2 guys only played 2 minutes basically. So it doesn't appear that they're super deep.
Hmm.
They did shoot 95% from the free throw line.
Hmm.
Um,
So
and
here's my
Georgia's
theory.
not the obvious. They have Kansas State coming up,
Yeah.
and I think that's going to be um, that'll be telling if
Okay.
they can play well. I mean, I'm not huge on Kansas State, but
Yeah.
if Miami can win that game and play well, then I
Hmm.
think they're at the very least an ACC title favorite or one of the ACC title favorites.
So here's my theory. Miami's not a national championship contender to me because they're not going to beat North Carolina and they're not going to beat Duke. And if you can't beat one of those two to sit atop the ACC, you're not like when you look at Duke, you're like, oh, that's a title team. Like I think we
Yeah.
can agree on that. Like that's a title team that Duke has. I just don't feel the same way about Miami. I don't think they're gonna compete with Duke or North Carolina. I just that's the hunch I'm getting.
Yeah, I mean, I always fear a team that has a guy that can shoot, like a Steph Curry, like a
Yeah.
Davidson, like because you're all if they can get to the tournament,
Well, yeah,
you're
it's
worried
matchups
that
too. Yeah,
yeah, you're worried that
that's
guy
the
goes
advantage.
off.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. I think and this is the weird part. It's the great part and the weird part about the NCAA tournament, right? In a 5-game series, Duke beats Miami,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
without a doubt.
Probably like
Um,
4-1.
yeah, I mean, in a
If they're
5-game
playing 5
series,
games. Yeah.
that Zion team is national champions, but
If you
um,
rewind the last 4 minutes of that Michigan State game, Duke is
yeah,
national champions. Like
yeah,
we don't let McQuaid do that 360 shot,
yeah,
and then Hall, who's been there forever, hit that three.
and that was just like Duke is. I think they said Izzo is 3-14 or something like that against Duke.
And there's the one
Yeah.
of the three. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Um, but I will keep my eye on Miami.
Okay.
Because I would like to see, they've got, so Miami's got Kansas State and then Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go against Notre Dame. Who Notre Dame just beat the other day?
They
Wasn't
just
anybody?
they beat Oklahoma State yesterday.
Okay, yeah, so by like a point, right, in overtime.
Yeah, they got blown out by Auburn, and then they beat. I think Notre Dame's going to struggle a little bit, but that was a good win.
Yeah, because I mean they only beat Niagara by 7, and Niagara's
Yeah,
terrible.
yeah.
But that was a
I just
surprise. I wouldn't have figured Notre Dame to beat any power conference team.
no. In Oklahoma State, I think looks bad. They
Yeah,
actually didn't even make my list because they're not really. I should have put them on my not impressed list. I have 4 teams on my not impressed list. You never want to be on my not impressed list.
all right. We'll go to your next award, but not pop quiz, prediction time.
Okay.
On Wednesday, Notre Dame is playing Maryland Eastern Shore.
Is this like a trap game you're telling me?
Give me your winner and by how much.
I'm going Notre Dame by 17.
Okay, I'm writing that down. Let me get a sticky note here. All right, Notre Dame over Maryland Eastern Shore by 17.
It's gonna be 17. 17. Right. Pressure's on, Notre Dame. Don't let me down.
All right. Yeah, let's give us another award here.
All right. My next award goes to the Risers, the teams that cemented themselves in Adams' 2-week Hall of Fame. BYU is in there. Kentucky's in there. Even though Kentucky lost, I think that was a very good loss for them. Vermont made it. I'm very impressed with Vermont. Watching them in the Myrtle Beach Invitational, they can score.
And they're like Vermont's that team. When I was
Vermont's that team you never want to play.
Yeah, this was so long ago now. Let's see. This was he's older than me. Man. This guy played basketball 2001 and 2005. So he played basketball when I was in high school. Taylor Coppenrath.
Uh-huh.
And Vermont they upset someone, but this was like Vermont's like the first time they jumped onto like the national scene where people are like, oh wow, like Vermont is like making the tournament and they're good.
Yeah.
And ever since I watched Taylor Coppenrath, it's like every year there's Vermont in the tournament, right? And every year like they're like a 14 or 15 seed, but you don't want to play them.
Yeah, no, they're a team and they come like so close every year.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like this might be their year where they just upset somebody. And then my fourth team was Virginia. Sneakily, Virginia has been Virginia, even though there's been doubts.
I was gonna say I would have put Virginia on my list as well.
And then my fifth team is Utah. I'm very impressed with Utah. Not just because they lost to Houston, but they were down. I forget who they were down by at least 13 to Wake Forest, and they came back. They
Hmm.
can defend. They can shoot. They could have beat Houston. I mean, I'm very impressed with Utah.
What? So I was gonna ask. After I heard your list, I was gonna say, what do you think about Virginia? But you mentioned Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, they might be on your disappointing list, so I'll put it out there anyways. Though, what do you make of St. John's?
Oh yeah, no, don't worry. They're coming later. They're coming later.
Okay.
They're coming later. We'll save that for later. We're coming later. That's coming
um.
later. I have a whole "I told you so" about St. John's to all of our
Okay.
listeners.
Yeah. I thought. Yeah. Virginia. I'd have that list. I Kentucky. I again not really a riser, but I was impressed by Kentucky.
Yeah,
Um.
it's just the fact that they're so young and they hung with a veteran team like that and led for most of
Yeah.
the game
And
and
that's the
played with
thing
like
that.
3 7-footers.
Yep. And Calipari's been missing that.
Yeah.
They just haven't. They've just given up.
Hmm.
Like it's they get down. Like some of these teams in the past couple of years for Kentucky have just gotten like blown out.
Blown out. Yeah.
And this is a team, and which they shouldn't, right? Like they have the talent to compete.
Hmm.
And Calipari is a good enough coach that it's maybe this is finally the year where not
Hmm.
necessarily national championship, but maybe this is a year they get back
They,
to
yeah.
like the lead
Final
eight or
four.
something.
Yeah. Final four,
Yeah.
lead eight. Yep. Sure. Sure.
Um. All right. Is Arkansas on your list anywhere at all?
No, I left them off.
So with Arkansas having Duke coming up,
Yep.
um, what do you make of a 6 point loss at home to UNC Greensboro?
Yeah, that's not good. That is
Yeah.
not good.
You would
That's
assume
because
if you
UNC
can't beat UNC
Greensboro.
Greensboro, you can't beat Duke.
Well, they're not going to beat Duke. I mean, Duke's going to beat them, but that's not good. Eric Musselman probably ripped them his 2 cents after the game, but that's not good for
I
them.
mean, UNC Greensboro lost to Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt
Yeah.
lost to I think like Presbyterian.
Oh, jeez. See, Vanderbilt's. It's going to be March, and Vanderbilt's going to be on the bubble again, and they're going to make it to the semifinals of the SEC tournament, and they're going to be left off because of one game that we're talking about now, where they lost to
Hmm.
Presbyterian, and that's going to be
Yep.
the game that they're out.
Um. All right. Yeah. So I agree with the risers. I think
Okay.
that's a good call.
Okay. All right. Here's my fallers. Now, let me distinguish. It goes risers, fallers, then not impressed list. So if you're on the not impressed list, you're worse than the fallers.
Okay.
All right. So my fallers are Villanova, College of Charleston, Michigan State, Michigan, and St. Mary's. Those are my fallers for the first 2 weeks.
What was the last team?
St. Mary's.
Okay. Okay.
College of
Um.
Charleston's the one that probably sticks out the most because they're 1-3 now, and last year they
Yep.
were 31-4. So they've got to go
Yep.
30-1 the rest of the year if they want to tie, which is not going to happen. But
Speaking of followers, real quick.
yep,
Right now, a little live looking for the viewers. FAU is beating Bryant 31-28 with 18 minutes left in the second half.
how is
If
that possible? Like,
if but if FAU loses to Bryant and they lose to Memphis, let's say they lose to Memphis. I assume they play Memphis twice. Um, let's say they lose to Memphis twice and they lose to Bryant.
hmm.
Do they not make the NCAA tournament?
Oh, they're not getting an at-large bid. No way, no shot. If you lose to Bryant and then Memphis twice, you're not getting it at large. It doesn't. That loss from Bryant could put them out of the tournament. Period.
Yeah.
If they lose, actually, I have them. As much as they got blown out yesterday, I was impressed by St. Bonaventure this weekend. They might lose to St. Bonaventure in that Hall of Fame Classic tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I But no, FAU's gotta figure it out.
Oh, so speaking of fallers, what do you make of? Pulled up here. What did I do with it? Yeah, it's gone. Um, what do you make of Michigan? Who like
They're
I was surprised. I was like, oh man, like Michigan lost Hunter Dickinson. They're putting things together, they're playing well, and all of a
yeah.
sudden, boom, there you go, Long Beach State.
So they were see if they hadn't lost to Long Beach State, they would have made my risers list.
Yep.
So you go from beating St. John's, which is a Big East team, and I don't think anybody expected. I think people expected St. John's was going to be this glorious thing that Rick Pitino resurrected, and you know they were going to be top of the Big East. You still beat St. John's, a Big East team, but then you lose to Long Beach State.
Yep.
So you make my fallers list because after St. John's, I went, okay, maybe I underestimated this Michigan team, picking them what 12th, I think, in the Big Ten. Or no, that wouldn't even make any sense. Eighth in the Big Ten,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's kind of like, okay, that's why I picked them because they lost to Long Beach State. So
What?
yeah.
So I'm just kind of I'm looking through the roster. They have Indiana coming up, and
Mm-hmm.
we talked about Indiana having UConn. So
Yep.
Indiana's got a um not a bad schedule. Indiana's got UConn and they've got Harvard. I'll be interested to see how they do with Harvard. They got Michigan, they've got Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Indiana is 3-0,
Yep.
but they've only played Florida Gulf Coast,
Mm-hmm.
Army, and Wright State,
Okay.
and beat. They haven't beat any one of those three teams by double digits.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they beat Florida Gulf Coast by 6, Army by 8, and Wright State by 9.
Well, I guess we're gonna find out tomorrow how good Indiana really is. Because although UConn did lose Castle,
Yep, yep.
that's a big loss. But still, we're gonna find out how good Indiana really is because UConn's still gonna be really good.
Because it's so early that like
Mm,
some of these games you just wonder. Like Michigan was looking good,
yeah.
and they blow out St. John's. Like, oh, okay, like
Mm,
Michigan's got it, but maybe St. John's is just trash.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, don't worry. You had your rant earlier. I'll have my rant in about 2 minutes here when we move on to my not impressed list.
All right, so we're on the fallers.
The fallers.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with College of Charleston.
Villanova.
Um,
Kyle Neptune's on the hot seat now, I think. I think if he doesn't do something, then.
yeah, I was listening to the Eye on College Basketball podcast,
Mhm.
and they mentioned that under Jay Wright, and I think it was like the last 10 seasons of Jay Wright's
Mhm.
coaching, I think he had 2 losses
Yeah.
against teams out of the top 100
Yeah.
in the RPI, wherever they
Yeah.
use.
Like, this is.
And yeah, Villanova uh, in or in the first 30 games
Yeah.
of this guy's coaching career, they've had 5.
Yeah. Like, this is not Villanova. Like, I'm sorry, but you cannot lose to Penn
Yeah.
and
So
expect to.
back on Duke for a second.
Sure.
This was because it's Villanova.
Yeah.
This is strange. All those secret scrimmages,
Uh huh.
you heard the results.
Yeah.
You didn't hear Duke Villanova.
Yeah.
Why? Why do you think? Why didn't that leak? Everything else leaks.
It's either because Duke gave him a good old fashioned blowout and Villanova didn't want that to get out. Unlikely, but Villanova could have blown out Duke.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. And like, but all the stuff I read from Duke was like, all right, like guys played well. Kind of vague. Like, all right, like things went good. Obviously, I don't follow Villanova, so I don't know what Villanova was saying
Yeah.
about it. But it was just strange because like these secret scrimmages aren't secret. Like everyone
Yeah.
knows who's playing who, and like
Yeah.
sometimes you get box scores.
Yeah.
It was just yeah, like you almost think it was the first one, right? Like if
Hmm.
Villanova's struggling, did
Yeah.
Duke just really put it on them?
Yeah. And then Villanova doesn't want that to
Yeah.
get out. And who does Villanova, what's Villanova's upcoming schedule? Because I hope it's hard because they really need to kind of show. They got Texas Tech, St. Joe's, Kansas State, UCLA. I mean, their first game versus a top 10 team is Creighton, and that's a whole month away. So,
Wait,
is
do they
Villanova.
have? Does Villanova have? Um, what am I looking at? Oh, I was looking at something different, I guess. On my list, it said they were playing North Carolina, but now I'm on ESPN.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I don't know. I've kind of grappled with Villanova for the past 2 years. Like they started to make a run last year, and I'm like, okay, like maybe if they don't make the NCAA, they can win the NIT, and then they lose in the first round of the NIT. And I'm like,
yeah,
I don't know if Kyle Neptune's really the answer for this team. It may be time to. I'd like to see Tom Crean at Villanova. I'd like to see that. I think
yeah.
we got to get him. He's a good. I love him as a commentator, but he's a good coach, and he's still got a lot left.
Here's we'll move on to your next category in a second.
Mm,
Let me toss one more team out to you.
okay.
You give me first impression, first thought when you hear the name
Okay.
Georgetown.
They, yeah. If I didn't put uh, Michigan, Georgetown was going to be on the list because,
I mean, they lost to Holy Cross.
yeah, you can't lose to Holy Cross.
I mean,
If
even
you,
Elms is going to be a Holy Cross.
yeah, yeah. Um, you can't lose Georgetown. The first thought when I have that I have of them when you said Georgetown was, uh, like I don't.
Now, do you think that is Ed Cooley going to? I mean, Ed Cooley's a good coach.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Georgetown's a big name.
Mm-hmm.
Um, can he turn it around, or is it just like so? Georgetown's always been a big name. Do you think Patrick Ewing was just that bad of a coach, and Ed Cooley is going to be able to turn it around?
I think it pains me to say this, but I think Patrick Ewing was a bad coach.
I agree.
I think they got lucky when they went on that run.
Oh man, I picked them to like go on. Like I thought they were hot.
Yeah, like they got so lucky, and then everybody thought they were going to be good the next year, and then they
Yeah,
just
yeah.
listen. Georgetown has been screwed over for so long that I don't know how long. If Ed Cooley can do this in like 3 4 years, then he'll be
hmm
the next savior of Georgetown basketball. But I mean, holy crap! I like. I just don't know.
Because I don't even know. Because I think Georgetown's in like Maryland, right?
Yeah,
That
like
sounds right. And so
they
I
no no no
thought
no. Georgetown's in Washington D.C.
okay, so it's in that area though.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, sure.
'Cause they used to get I thought a lot of like New York players.
Mm,
And but I think Georgetown, and obviously if you're a basketball player, you know there's some leeway and stuff. But I'm pretty sure Georgetown's like a really really good academic school.
hmm
And I wondered like if you just they're not getting like because did Marbury go to Georgetown? I'm gonna look
I
this
don't
up
think
now.
so. I don't think Marbury went to Georgetown. No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
I gotta find this now. He went to
I don't think he did. No, I don't think so.
into Georgia Tech. Okay, so he went to Georgia
Yeah.
Tech like
Jeez.
let's go to Georgia Tech.
Jeez. Yeah.
Travis Best. He took over for Travis Best.
Stephon Marbury.
Yeah.
Really?
Travis Best, man, like that doesn't get talked about enough.
We can
You
do
know,
a
having
segment one day.
yeah, like we should try to get him on. He's back in the Springfield area.
Yeah.
And here's a guy that like for his career
Mm,
in the NBA averaged almost 7 points, 3 assists, and 2 rebounds.
mm-hmm.
I mean, that's not bad for this guy
Yeah.
um from from Springfield. You know, he in 2001 he averaged, and this was right around. This was towards the end of Reggie Miller's career when the
Okay.
Pacers were playing really
Yeah.
well. He averaged almost 10 points,
Oh wow.
9.3 assists, and 5 rebounds.
Yeah, that's really good.
Like he almost averaged a double double.
Yeah.
Um.
Hmm. Okay.
Oh, that no, that wait. So that was in the playoffs Wait,
Oh,
but
well, still, that's even better.
but for the regular season, still actually even better. His career regular season, he was almost 8 points, 3.5 assists, and two
Hmm.
rebounds. So an
Hmm.
extra assist.
Okay.
Almost one steal per game, point 0.9 steals per game.
Hmm.
At his peak in that same season, he averaged 12 points per game, 6 assists, 3 rebounds.
Yeah.
Like for a team that was battling that 2001 team, I think it's the team that might have been the team that played the Bulls or maybe beat the Bulls in the Eastern Conference
Oh,
Finals and then lost to the Lakers in the finals.
okay.
So like he was 12 points per game and 6 assists for a team that was in the NBA Finals.
Hmm. Wow. Okay.
I think he dropped like I want to say he had like a 90-point game when he was playing for Central.
Oh, wow. That's incredible.
They were so it says here on Wikipedia at Central they were 69-4.
Wow. Wow. That's incredible.
Second team All American. Oh, he scored
69.
81 points in a game.
Let's do 69 divide quick calculation. He won 17 games a year.
It
That's
said no. It says that he only played 3 seasons, so that's 69 games in 3 seasons.
right. Wow.
He played in the McDonald's All American game,
Yeah.
first team All American.
Mm.
He had offers from UConn and Virginia.
Hmm. Wow. It's insane.
Yeah, maybe we'll do an episode where we take like
Yeah.
maybe like we rank the top 5 players from like Massachusetts or
Mm.
something like that. We'll do like some
Sure.
history research.
Sure. Sure. You can do that.
All right, give me another category.
My not impressed category. You don't want to
Okay.
be. Your not impressed category is like you're on your mother's list when you didn't do your chores all day and she came home
Mm-hmm.
and found you playing video games. It takes a while to get off that.
Yeah.
So, my not impressed list. UMass. I'm done with you.
Oh man,
You lost to Harvard.
you don't think like
You know how many people bought the hype this year and were like, "Oh, Frank Martin's squad is different," and they blow out Albany, beat Quinnipiac. People were like, "All right, they're going to go on a roll here before this West Virginia game," and then last night happened.
to be fair, they would have beaten Harvard if they had hit their free throws.
Exactly. They missed like 17. So you know what? I'm done with that. No, I'm not impressed by LSU either. They may have beaten North Texas, but they're bad. They are bad. I'm sorry, Matt McMahon, but you guys are bad. I just was not impressed by LSU. They should be 1-3 right now, so they got lucky. My other team, I'm sorry. Some Ivy Leagues have been doing well, but Brown University is not. They are 1-4. Their only win is against Division III Rhode Island College by 41 points. So they're 0-4 basically. They lost to Colgate, Loyola, Maryland, and Brown. I mean, no, New Hampshire. So sorry, they're 1-3, but they're going to lose to USC tomorrow. So 1-4. So they're bad.
Trivia or not trivia? Prediction time.
Oh, jeez. Of the Brown game, Brown
No,
USC.
Penn is
Okay.
also playing Maryland Eastern Shore. Who beats Maryland Eastern Shore by more points, Penn or Notre Dame?
I'm just gonna go Penn because they beat Villanova. So what the heck? Why not? Just gonna go Penn. And then my last team, which everybody might have guessed by now, that I haven't said, is yes, the St. John's Red Storm. Because let me tell you, they look horrible on offense.
So I agree. Here's the thing about St. John's, because you were talking about making it really difficult to get off this list, and St. John's has coming up Utah, Holy Cross, West Virginia, Sacred Heart, Boston College, Fordham, then Xavier,
Mm-hmm.
and then eventually UConn.
Yep.
If they drop one of those games, right? If they lose to somehow like BC or even Fordham, who had a decent season last year,
Mm-hmm.
Fordham's going to play hard, right? Because
Yeah.
Fordham's probably got some guys from New York on
And
that
then
team.
Joel Soriano is going back to Fordham.
Yeah. it like, but they they can only make themselves worse in those games. I think like
Sure.
winning those next 6 or 7 games probably does nothing for them.
No, no. I have
So
a
like
whole
they have to wait all the way until December 23rd to beat UConn, who's going to destroy them.
to possibly get off my list.
Yeah, the only way like they have to wait until because if they beat Utah, Holy Cross, West Virginia, Sacred Heart, Boston College, Fordham, okay, fine, they got a little run going, and then maybe if they beat Xavier, all right, like the Xavier one helps a little bit. You get
So will
destroyed by
Utah. Utah
UConn.
will help too.
Yeah, you beat Hofstra probably, right? But
Hopefully.
then you got Villanova, and let's say Villanova's trash, then that I guess it helps, but
Yeah.
then you go Providence, you're gonna lose, Creighton, you're gonna lose, Marquette, you're gonna lose.
Hmm.
So like I see them winning the games they're supposed to win, but not winning any games they're gonna lose. And if they end up losing one of those games
Hmm.
that they're supposed to win,
Yeah.
then it's um yeah, I don't. So versus at. So all
I.
those games at least are at home,
Hmm.
except at West Virginia.
Mm.
Um, yeah, but I it's and I'm not a big Rick Pitino guy.
Hmm. Not on
Um,
this team. I'm not.
yeah, I think he's scummy. Um, and I also
Really.
think that um he does tend to wear suits. I like that.
Oh. Okay.
Um, but I'm not an old school coach guy. I don't like yelling like our friend Frank Martin does. Like I'm not I don't see like Tom Izzo yells. Like
Yeah.
Tom Izzo when they were playing Duke, a guy came off the corner. I forget what he did, and he starts screaming at the guy.
Mm.
And the guy he goes like, "My bad, coach." Like he point and you could tell him he's apologized. Like I stupid mistake. And Tom Izzo keeps like yelling, pointing, and like this guy's like, "I understand, coach. Like I screwed up. I get it. Like I shouldn't have done that." And
Yeah.
Izzo keeps yelling at him. I'm like he gets it. Like, shut up, leave him alone.
Listen, tell Frank Martin that. We should do a podcast one time when we're live from the UMass game. Just like sight and sounds and sit behind the bench. That would be
Because
fun.
it's only going to cost $20. Well, we could buy probably $15 tickets and then move up. Because from what I can tell, the Harvard game, nobody goes to the basketball games anyways.
That's what I was literally like. I was like, I should just buy like the $9 general admission tickets and then just continue to move up.
Yeah, I
Because
was like, oh, maybe it's going to be rocking. There was nobody there.
yeah, no, nobody there. No.
And my friend has season tickets, and I think they're pretty good season tickets. And he's a big UMass fan,
Mm.
but like same thing. Like he like gives up after a while. He's like, all right, like season's over, and then he just stops going.
Season's
So
over.
like we can just move up to his season tickets.
That's true. That's true. So we'll just wait till they like blow a couple of games and then that'll be
What if we can pause the feed and start taunting Frank Martin a little bit just to rile him up, and then we can press it back again and get some of his swears on the.
I can only imagine what that locker room was like. I fear for these players' lives. Like he had to have screamed yesterday. Like I would have not have wanted to be at practice today.
So the guy that I run with that's a fan of UMass. I don't want to besmirch Frank Martin here or anything about Frank Martin because we are Frank Martin people on this podcast.
Yes.
Um, his younger son, that was at Amherst, is he
Christian, yeah, yeah.
transferred to
Yeah.
Wilbraham Munson
Yep.
or something like that.
Yeah.
It was he. So when we played them last year,
Yeah.
yeah, last year when we met Frank,
Yeah.
um, Pope beat them pretty handily, if I remember correctly. So, I mean, this guy's not very good, right? Like he can't, like
Who?
he didn't beat Frank Martin's kid.
Wow.
Is he good?
I thought he was I thought he was like I didn't think he
I
was
mean,
bad. I thought he
but he
was
didn't take over against our team, and
okay.
he
Well,
was
no,
like,
he didn't take over, but that doesn't mean he's not a good player.
no, but it's like,
That's
is it?
crazy. I'm gonna clip that and send it over right away.
Is he like he can't? I figure if you're legitimate, you would drop at least 25 on Pope Francis.
I think he had like 15. That's not bad.
Okay, all right, What's his name?
Christian Martin, I think.
Christian. Do you think?
Oh no, are you putting? Well, first of all, before you ask that question, are you putting me in a really tough spot? So if this gets back to Frank Martin,
No. This
okay,
is pretty easy.
okay.
Um, do you think that if I mean I'm sure part of it is the Frank Martin has the money obviously,
Mhm.
and you have the Phil Pascal is they went to Wilhelm Munson,
Yeah.
so they went to Wilhelm Munson, and then you got another guy just committed to UMass from Wilbraham Munson.
Hmm.
So obviously they've got some good stuff going on basketball wise. But do you think that if the assistant coach, what's the name of the kid that is at Pope now?
Oh, Jackson.
Yeah, if he had come to Pope like early, like I know he's young, but like somehow like before Christian committed to Wilhelm Munson, think there's any chance that Frank
Oh,
would have just
really?
sent him to Pope?
That now you're dabbling a little of the what ifs.
Because it's still a private school.
Yeah,
It's maybe a little bit different than Amherst, and you got someone on the team.
sure. Let me just say, Jackson Edwards is going to be a very good player
Yeah,
because he is 6'6" and he can bring the ball up like a point guard, and he
his
can
dad's
shoot.
big. I saw his
And
dad one time. He's
his
big.
dad played at Kentucky.
I saw that. Yeah, I looked up at his Wikipedia one time. He had it
Yep.
the year that they like won the championship or
Yeah.
like were close. Like he averaged like legitimate like
Mhm.
stats.
Yeah. Yep. And he coached Larry Nance at Wyoming.
Okay.
Um, so we should get him on the podcast. That'd be a good a good segment. That would be a good
Um.
segment. Anyway, we're getting off topic. St. John's, right? They suck. Let me tell you something. Rick Pitino, Thursday, I could not get enough of him. He was going on and on, praising his team about holding North Texas. North Texas to 35% shooting. You won by 1 point, Rick. You scored 53 points against North Texas. You were going to get destroyed by UConn. So, no, they are not good. Joel Soriano looks worse this year. He looks worse. He's averaging 11 and 12, and he's supposed to be the most improved player in the Big East. No, they couldn't beat Dayton, which we'll get it. Coach of the week right now is Anthony Grant from Dayton. He's my coach of the week because you beat St. John's, you're going to the championship, you're going to play Houston. If they beat Houston, that would be a dream run. But St. John's,
Does Dayton still have the
Williams, yes,
yeah.
yeah,
Because he was the one. There was talks of him going to Duke or like
yeah,
turning pro. Like he was in the portal for a little bit, and
yeah.
he went back to Dayton. I remember watching him last year,
So here's the
and
thing: he struggled against St.
yep,
John's, and St. John's couldn't win.
yeah. It
Goodbye,
now
Redstone. You're not a tournament team. I told all of you viewers at the beginning of the year. That's it. Carry on.
I'll take it. I'll take it. Um, Yale. So as a follow up to the Ivies, Yale beat Loyola Marymount,
Yep.
Colgate,
Mm-hmm.
Vassar, obviously, and they lost to Gonzaga. So
By
Gonzaga,
11,
so that's
though.
Gonzaga by 15.
Oh,
Um,
it's still not bad.
but Gonzaga, um,
So Gonzaga has a great opportunity on Monday against Purdue.
yes, and I'm still a little iffy on Purdue. I think now.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Gonzaga hasn't really played anybody. I thought for some reason that they were in a close game with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they were close with Yale for like a little bit or
Okay.
something.
Yeah.
Oh no, you know what it was? Gonzaga lost somebody.
Hmm.
They lost a basketball injury. They lost Steele Venters for the season with a knee injury, who I guess was supposed to be um
Steel Venters.
he was the 2022-2023 Big Sky Player of the Year.
Oh, really?
averaged one of the most coveted players in the transfer portal, averaging 15 points a game, 37 from three.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Um, so I guess
Okay.
he was supposed to be kind of good for them, but he's out, which I guess made them just less deep. People were saying that like they already kind of were a little
Hmm.
uh weak in that
Yep.
aspect.
Yep. So
Um,
let me dabble in a little bit of the what ifs, right? So we know this Maui gym bracket, right?
yep,
So if everybody wins that we think wins, we could have a Kansas Purdue final, which would be electric. And that would potentially be the game of the week.
yep,
Because if everybody wins, we'd have Purdue. Well, Purdue is against Gonzaga. And then if they win, they would presumably play Tennessee. You have Marquette play Kansas if they win. And then you could have even a Kansas Tennessee final would be great.
yep.
I mean, this
Do
is a
you think
loaded.
that's what I say? Like I, if forced to pick, although is Tennessee's point guard back?
But it doesn't. Tennessee's better this year because they have Dalton Knecht, who's
Because
like
I would say like I would pick Tennessee
over.
if I was forced to pick. I think I'd pick Tennessee or Purdue right now.
Really,
I think
that
so.
that would be a good game too. I think that would be a physical game,
Yes, yeah,
very physical. And I think those like top three games are like in my what ifs of the best games of the week.
you're right though. That is because if everything holds true,
Yeah,
you have Kansas Marquette, right?
and that's a great one
That's
too.
a good game. Yeah.
The Maui gym is loaded this year
Um.
because Syracuse is not going to beat Tennessee,
No.
and then Purdue is not going to lose to I think they play Butler or something. So
No. Purdue plays Gonzaga in that.
or yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
yes, sorry,
So that's. I mean, that's even
yeah.
like so. If I'd have to do the math out here, but like if so, game four,
Hmm.
loser of game four versus loser of game three. But then does it go on? Oh, seventh place. So you potentially could get like in like the fifth place game or something like that. You could get like UCLA and Gonzaga.
Yeah, or like Gonzaga versus Marquette, or
Yeah,
so it's
yeah,
still a great tournament. And then
yeah.
my other three games of the week potential matchup is Texas A&M versus FAU. I think that'll be a good game. Aggies, we're gonna destroy FAU.
I don't know how good of a game it's going to be because folks, we have a live update.
Oh no.
Oh wait, I'm losing. Uh, Bryant is currently with 7 minutes and 16 seconds left in the game. Bryant is leading FAU 51-41.
Oh, after we finish, I have to go turn that on if there's time left. That's
After
crazy.
FAU's season slowly, do you think
Here it
Bryant
is.
is like motivated because they just fired the coach?
Oh,
Well,
they
he
fired
stepped
the coach.
down.
Oh, thank
Well, he
goodness.
stepped down, but they probably fired him.
Let me just say, he was the one. He was probably the most. I despised him. We'll just say I despised him.
Yeah, he was trash.
Yeah, he was talk about scummy.
Yeah,
Talk about scummy. Anyway, my other two games are Arizona, Michigan State, and then UConn, presumably versus Texas, Monday
yep.
at 6:30 p.m. Probably on ESPN.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you have a great lineup coming up for Feast Week.
Feast week,
Um,
love it.
it's and I'm glad that I'm glad college basketball did this because I
Mm,
think that it's so people that don't people that watch college basketball just at the tournament, like
yeah,
that's fine. The tournament's great.
they
College basketball is easily the best sport out there. Like it's so many upsets, so many comebacks. Like you had these teams that will fall down by 20 and they'll
And come
claw
back.
back into the game,
Yeah.
and so many big games,
Hmm.
right? Like you don't have. I guess you have because there's more of them. When Alabama plays Southern Georgia in football
Yeah.
and wins by 80 points,
Yeah.
like you don't have that a lot necessarily in basketball. Maybe one or two of them, so the teams can kind of get their footing a little bit.
Hmm.
Um, but it's just like Duke should win the ACC,
Hmm.
but
Should. Yeah.
they could lose to Syracuse.
Yeah.
They could lose to Notre Dame. They shouldn't, but like they could. Whereas like Alabama is not going to lose to like
Yeah.
Vanderbilt in football.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm checking the Bryant now is up by 12. FAU has only scored 12 points this half. Earl Timberlake and some guy, let me get you the name, Sharif Gross Bullock, are going off right now and FAU's shooting numbers look terrible.
God, and
They are shoot
Bryant's,
FAU is shooting 27.8% from the field and 17% from three and 63% from the free throw line. It's not a winning recipe.
but we knew this was possible because
We did.
Bryant defeated Fisher College 140-79.
Yeah, Bryant's
And
1-3. Who would
if
have
you can
thought?
put 140 up on Brian, I guess does that even count? Like Brian's probably really 0-3 because Fisher College doesn't have a profile on ESPN, which makes me think that they're like a Division 2 or Division 3 team.
But so here's FAU's problem, right? Is they have Butler, Liberty, Charleston, and Illinois in their next 5 games, and they will probably play Penn State, which is Big Ten team. FAU season could be done early.
It is, but I don't think they're gonna lose this game.
You don't think so?
I think it's gonna be one of those ones where they storm back and they
With
win by
6 minutes?
like 4.
All right, low key. I kind of have to go watch this now. We have to cut this short to go watch this, and this is crazy.
So let me just see real quick. So yeah, I guess you're right that because I guess they do have an opportunity. So FAU could, if they lose this game,
Hmm.
they almost have to beat Arizona
Yeah, they
because
have to beat
that at least will
Arizona.
offset
Yeah,
this,
or they
or
have.
at least Illinois, right? Like because if not, what other big game do you really have besides Memphis and North
Yeah.
Texas? I guess, but
Hmm.
like Rice,
Yeah.
UAB, Charlotte,
Hmm.
those aren't going to save you.
Hmm. Yeah, I think they either have to win or they have to win out of the
Yeah,
conference.
yeah.
So we will see.
All right, so let's plan for um
Sometime between Friday and Sunday.
yeah, I'm a little busy on Friday. I think I'm free in the morning. Like
Okay.
I'm free up until probably like 11
Okay.
on Friday, and then I think Saturday and Sunday I'm pretty free. But if we want to like get something, if we want to do like a Friday, like if we want to do a Friday longer thing, and then like a quick hitter Sunday
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
we
Let's do
like
that.
take 20 minutes to preview the week coming
Yeah.
up.
Let's do that. Let's do that.
Okay.
We could do Friday at like till 11. So what? 9:30. 9:30.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So short week. So
Yeah.
stay tuned. Coming
All
at you
right.
two for
Dude,
Thanksgiving week.
here it comes.
Eat your turkey.
All right, I'll let you catch some FAU.
I know, right? I'm hyped to see that now.
All right. Well, until next time.
Until next time. Thanks,
Thanks,
viewers.
sir.